What's going on YouTube? Ryan Alex back from Dopamon again. Today we're continuing on our predictions, previews of each NHL series for this year's Stanley Cup Playoffs. This one, we got Calgary and Dallas. The winner of the Pacific Division takes on the first wild card spot in Dallas Stars. Great season by Calgary. I think it had a lot of people surprised in their resurgence. Did not have a very good year last year in the makeshift North Division, missing the playoffs entirely, and comes back this year real strong and probably the candidate for like most improved team if there was one.
Mm-hmm.
Great record, 50-21-11. Keeps the puck out of their net, scores goals, good special teams, just a well-rounded team. And Dallas sneaking into the first wildcard spot there on the last day. Taking it over Nashville, who was poised to take on this team until the last day. But yeah, big players on both sides here. Head to head, Dallas actually took the season series 2-1, one of which was in overtime. The most recent game on April 21st was
No, it's Calgary.
Oh, I misread it.
You
2-1
lied.
for. I lied to everyone's faces. Thank
And
you,
it was
Al.
an overtime loss for Calgary.
And it was an overtime.
2
So
0 1.
2-0-1 for Calgary this season. Thank you. I misread that second line.
Yeah, I had to I was staring at it too, don't worry.
All good. Big thing for the Calgary Flames. They were the first team since the 18-19 Lightning to have 340 goal scorers in that insane top line of Johnny Gaudreau, Matt Tkachuk, and Elias Lindholm. Jason Robertson, a 40 goal scorer on the other side, having a great year. Rupe Hintz, Joe Pavelski, still doing it in his older years. He's way too good for a 37-year-old leading his team in points. One side has a bona fide starter, and the other has kind of a mix. Guys who are, Braden Holtby is hurt. I have him included in here, but he is hurt. Scott Wedgwood came in a trade from the deadline there and put up great numbers with them, but their starter will be Jake Ottinger, right?
Yeah, I agree. Ottinger's always kind of been their goalie of the future. They're, for at least the near future. I didn't think Scott Wedgwood, even for when they made the trade, was thought to be a starter. I figured it was just to, maybe keep it, a solid backup going into the playoffs just to make sure that they got a spot because that wild card, that was pretty close.
Yeah, and this team is interesting, Dallas, because the last time they were in this position, they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So, and their team is largely the same. Not a whole lot of difference between this team and the team that went all the way to the final. Probably the biggest difference, I guess, is they don't have Hudobin in net, but they have Ottinger in net. Klingberg, Sagan, like they have the veterans with Ben, Sagan, and Radulov, who haven't had great offensive years, but are still solid, big players in the playoffs, especially Jamie Benn, who, gets, he's a power forward, and those are at a premium in the playoffs. Sagan is still sneaky, even though he's down offensively. John Klingberg is always a beast in the playoffs for Dallas, 47 points this year. Miro Heiskanen actually had an incredible playoffs a couple years ago during that run as well. And then they still got their depth guys, Radek Fasa, Denis Gurianov, and you'll Kivi Ranta, you'll Yanni Hakanpää on the back end is a newer guy, I think, from that run. I think this might be a closer series than people are saying. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that Dallas has the potential to make it a close series. Like when you look at those top scorers, that's not Dallas's like top line of Ben, Sagan, Radulov. Like there is another line hidden under there with Tyler Sagan that if they light up could really dominate. Have two great scoring lines when we already know the Pavelski, Robertson, Rupe Hintz, they're already scoring. So, you don't have to worry as much about them. And if they're already going, full cylinders, it could be a really good, offensive team, even from Dallas, that typically is known more for their defense.
Yep.
And that could really negate what, Calgary is bringing. But I don't know. I think it could be close, but I think there are also a lot of questions for Dallas. They've kind of stumbled their way through the season. There were times when it was like I wasn't sure if they were going to make the playoffs even or not, and I think that that can really show in a, 7-game series that the holes in your roster, the holes on your team are going to show more, and Calgary has been amazing. I think they might exploit that a little bit.
Yeah, the biggest question mark I think hampering the Calgary Flames is, for me at least, is depth scoring specifically. They have probably the best line in hockey this year, and I don't think that's really much of a debate. But past that, Andrew Mangiapane had a great first half of the year, not a great second half. Mikael Backlund had 39 points. Blake Coleman, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Blake Coleman, is on this team. He had 33 points. Dylan Dubé had a great end to his season, 32 points. Tyler Toffoli is there. Like, they have some guys, but they don't have like a breaking second or third line necessarily that's going to put up a lot of points. They've relied a lot on that first line. But we'll see. We'll see, because Daryl Sutter's teams generally, do things by committee, and especially with team defense specifically to shut down the other team. So those bottom lines might just not be scoring because that's not their role. So we'll see. Brett Ritchie as well, 41 games, 4 points this year. Milan Lucic still kicking. Had played a full 82 games. They're big on the back end too. Nikita Zadorov, I think, is an underrated defenseman. And then they've had big years from Rasmus Anderson and Oliver Shillington. And Noah Hannafin, who is another big defense. They got a great defense core, and the only question mark I can find is just like depth scoring. Like, who's going to be that third line winger that every team that goes on a deep playoff run has. Like, every one of them has that one guy who way overperforms. Who's going to be that guy for Calgary? And I think that's the biggest question mark. The other thing I wanted to point out is Dallas is the only team in the playoffs with a negative goal differential, meaning they've given up more goals than they have scored this year at 233 to 244. They're the only team that is in that position. That's a problem. This team doesn't score, and this team is known for its defense, but the numbers say that they're not a great defensive team anymore. When they went on that run, they were a really good defensive team, and they had stopped a lot of offense through the series. I think they beat Colorado. Like, they stifled big teams on the way to losing to the Tampa Bay Lightning in the bubble. But yeah, this is gonna be a struggle for Dallas. It really is. What do you think? What's gonna happen? What is your prediction?
I predict that this is going to be a really, really low scoring series. You're going to look at like a few 1-0, 2-1, 2-0 kind of games. Maybe even like a third the goals are all going to be empty net goals, just because both teams are going to realize that, hey, Calgary's top line might get shut down, and they're going to have to rely on good coaching, good structure to maybe score a couple bounces, something cheap, something cheesy, just to get like, a goal or two. And that might be it for the entire game if, one team's shutting down your entire first line and that's all you have. And vice versa. I don't know if Dallas does have what it takes to score enough on a very structured team like Calgary enough. Can they score 3, 4, 5 goals, at a time? And it's like the head-to-head shows that over time, no, Dallas has scored 4, then they scored 3, then they scored 2, and they're scoring less and less, and Calgary's gotten better on them as the series head to head had gone on. So I don't think that Dallas is going to win this one. I really like Dallas. I hope for the future. I the best for them, but I think this one I'm gonna have to give to Calgary. Uh, I want to say 5, but I'm going to go for 6 games because I feel like low scoring games have a way of bouncing either way. 1-0 maybe could just balance in Dallas's favor more often. But I think Calgary's going to win the law of averages and take it in 6.
All right, I'll take Calgary in 5, so I'll take that from you. I think there's going to be too much. I think Dallas might sneak out one game where Pavelski kind of puts the team on his back, or they get a couple key goals from Jason Robertson, but I don't think Dallas has much of a shot here. They're probably one of the bigger underdogs in the Stanley Cup playoffs in general, and that's with a league with Florida and Colorado in it. So Calgary, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they're the team to bring it back to Canada this year. I have them in 5 games here. Let us know what you think in the comments section down below. Who wins this series? Who's the biggest X factor for you? Flames fans, let me know. And Dallas Stars fans, you're going to be in tough. Hopefully your goaltender can steal you a couple because he needs to. Leave a like on this video. If you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel for more dope hockey content coming soon in the playoffs, draft, all sorts of stuff. Peace.